a growing split inside Denver's restaurant industry on whether the city should lower the tipped minimum wage. On one side, owners say labor costs are too high and point to a report on the state of Denver's restaurants. Now, 65-plus restaurant owners say that argument is based on flawed data. Our Spencer Soiter explains.
When lawmakers craft policy, it's supposed to be based on good data.
These numbers are not matching labor and statistics numbers.
For the first time, a new state law now gives Denver the power to lower tipped wages, which right now sit at $16.27 an hour. And the conversation about doing that is heating up. It comes after a report released in late February titled The State of Denver Restaurants. It listed a bunch of reasons for restaurants struggling to hang on in the city, including Denver's tipped minimum wage.
The cost of labor was a very significant issue and something that a lot of restaurant owners and operators are struggling to deal with.
Adib Khan is the executive director of Denver's Economic Development and Opportunity, which worked with Visit Denver and InKind, a private restaurant financing company, to commission the report. The report was authored by the founders of the restaurant groups that own Snooze and Jack's Fish House.
And to me, it matches what I hear from the majority of restaurant owners, which is that costs are escalating across the board. Labor costs, food costs, that's a reality.
The report prompted Denver City Council member Darrell Watson to tell the Denver Post he was drafting legislation to reduce the tip minimum wage. But a growing group of restaurant owners say the report reached predetermined outcomes.
It's authored by restaurant owners, which seems like a problem to me because they would directly benefit from any policy changes that would come after this report.
I think it's disingenuous. I think it's trying to assign blame to the working class.
Lindsay Dalton of Weather Vane Cafe and David Corboy of Alpine Eatery Food Truck aren't the only ones questioning the report. The Denver auditor has issues with the data too, saying parts of the report rely on outdated or incomplete data and could give a distorted picture of the state of the industry. The authors, though, say there was no policy push.
100%. We had no preconceived notion of what was going to come out of that report.
So I asked Watson's office to interview him today, specifically asking for comment on whether he plans to bring some sort of legislation to council and if he still supports lowering the tipped minimum wage. His office told me it had no comment because there is no tipped wage bill being brought before the council. Of course, he's the one who told the Post he was drafting that.
And the restaurants that have signed on to this list that are opposing it, I mean, it sounds like a pretty long list at that.
It's about 65 restaurants or so, although there was an interesting discrepancy in here, and I need to go through each of them individually, but it's a lot of cafes and food trucks or pizzerias, smaller places, not necessarily your sit down with a server type place that seem to be opposing this, like the authors of this bill, of this study said there was.
Well, we would be waiting to hear from them if it does come in front of council. Thank you so much, Spencer.